Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the morning of Saturday, February 10th, 2024. Stand by for a special commentary. Well, Americans, here we are on the 10th of February, 2024. There's been, three primary elections on the Republican side, and Trump is saying, yeah. Okay, but he's taking his lumps. And I wanted to say today's commentary is on Biden and Trump, America's Kobayashi Maru. And you people that don't know what Kobayashi Maru is, check out Star Trek. Kobayashi Maru, a no-win scenario. And here is why I say there's a no-win scenario for Republicans and Democrats. And you independents and you people who don't vote or never have voted before, and there's about 150 million of you, you have to determine what you want your country to be. Not the Democrats and Republicans. They are so, how would you say, extremist and bent in their ways that they forget that their ways does not go with the American way. They left tracks a long time ago. And here is items on the Kobayashi Maru. The Supreme Court is looking at a Kobayashi Maru this week when they took on the case of the Colorado ballot that they're not putting Trump on. And everybody's saying, oh yeah, they're going to side with Colorado. And no, they are not. And that doesn't mean they're siding with Trump either. Chief Justice Roberts, and you notice the people that were commenting, and some of them were not Trump appointees. Okay? Those justices know exactly what they're doing. They're not Republicans and they're not Democrats here. They're looking at this in an American point of view as Chief Justice Roberts wants them to. And it's about time, justices. And for you guys who say when the Supreme Court comes around with their decision that says the Colorado decision does not stand and Trump has a right to be on the ballot, yes, he does. Because of one main issue here. The 14th Amendment is vague. It does not say that the United States President is part of the 14th Amendment on insurrection. Doesn't mention him by name, and it should. You have to be exact when you make your amendments to the U.S. Constitution. Remember, that's your doctrine. But the Supreme Court has two things going for it that they has to do this. The thing about ballots, it's up to Congress to decide on that, and they are a disaster. So they're going to get no answer there. The Supreme Court, I wouldn't get involved if I were them because it's not their territory. According to both the prime directive and the dogma, meaning the Constitution itself. And in viewing this, the Supreme Court has to take into account the prime directive. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to promote the general welfare and to secure for the common defense and justice. It's been a while since I've read the preamble, so you got to excuse me. I'm trying to paraphrase. They has to look at those preambles to the Constitution, the prime directive of your society. And then it has to look at the dogma, which is your doctrine, the Constitution itself. And the 14th Amendment is vague on naming the United States President as an officer of the United States. Is he? Well, no, because the Founding Fathers appointed him as caretaker to the United States of America, not an officer of a corporation, okay? The Vice President's the same way. Now, Johnson, the head of the House, Republican, is considered an officer, okay? Because he holds the Speaker of the House title. So he is the first one going down the line that the 14th Amendment applies to. And you would want it to apply to him because he is a crazy guy, just like Trump. But in that case, Americans, that is why you're in a Kobayashi Maru here for the Supreme Court. They have to decide against the Colorado law and strike it down. They have no choice. On the other hand, with Trump asking them to look at the immunity, if I were the Supreme Court, I would say, I would let the decision of the appellate court stand. Therefore, Trump is not immune to federal charges because he was a former president, citizen Trump, when he did most of those charges. Insurrection? Well, that's a different story that you have to look at the Supreme Court for the definition of insurrection. And Congress has got to set up a definition of insurrection. But for all the other charges with the documents and stuff, he has enough to be put in prison for that. And that's the way it is. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. On the other hand, you Democrats, you have a problem with President Biden. Because no matter what he says or does, his actions speak louder than words. Remember? Actions speak louder than words. And he's been committing a lot of gaffes. He always has. But they didn't amount to much because he was Biden. But he is now over 80. And anytime you're over 80, you got dementia, and you got other Alzheimer's disease that comes in with it, Parkinson's, and all those guys when the 80s have them. And guys that are in the low 80s have them. But 80 is the standard that you used to do to define old versus young. And very septuagenarian, I think is the word you're looking for here. And both Trump at 77 and him at 82, well, and look at the oil problems that you have right now, and how is President Biden handling it? And that's no excuse or condemnation of President Biden. It's just the facts that are coming into being. Could have been another president. Could have been Trump. Hey, Trump, when he was there, he was handling everything bad too. So you Republicans and Democrats, are you sure you're going to run with these two standard bearers as your candidates for the U.S. presidency? And you Americans, are you really going to stand for 4 years of either one of them? Really? That seems to be what you're asking. And you're putting the Supreme Court in a position that they shouldn't be in. They're not political. They're a judiciary branch of government, not a political branch, not an executive branch. So they have to stay with Justice Roberts and do what he's doing here. That's not a win for President Trump. It's just the way the Constitution is set up on the Colorado law. And on the other one, it's not a defeat for President Trump. It's the same way. Remember, the Constitution has a double-edged sword here. Do you understand, Americans? This is your favorite alien saying, "You're in a Kobayashi Maru. How are you going to get out of this?" Good day.